Holy moly. Look at the size of that smelt.
It's going to be an 11, 12-inch smelt.
Yeah, that thing's huge.
Hey, eh? Big
Yeah,
mama.
that is a big. That's a huge smelt. I'm going to let him go. He's probably what? You say 10 inches? 11 inches?
Real quick.
Okay. Wow, an 11-inch smelt.
Yep.
Awesome. I'm going to let him go.
Her.
Sorry, her. But that's cool. See you, girl.
Yeah, good day. Out perching today. A few decent ones. These guys are, between 10 and 11. Quite a bit of white perch. Quite a few smelt. Jackie's going to do a video on how to can the smelt.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the homestead. So today we're going to be taking our hand at canning some smelt. We had an amazing ice fishing season, catching a bunch of smelt, and we figured we'd keep some and can them up. Maybe they taste like sardines, we're not sure. This is the first time we've done it. And the sauce we're going to use for our smelt today are oyster sauce, soy sauce, salt, pepper, and a little bit of chili flakes. And we are going to be adding some olive oil, but we don't have it in the mix here, so that's what we're going to use. And we're going to be doing the raw pack method today. So it's basically we're going to take our smelt, put them inside of the jar, have a little bit of our seasoning, and then you want half a teaspoon of preserving salt because you are doing a 500 ml. So we're going to use half a teaspoon of the preserving salt. It's going to go in the canner for 75 minutes and yeah, we'll be done. Hopefully it tastes just like sardines. We're not sure because we haven't done this before, but we're going to be pressure canning today. That's another thing too. So we're going to bust out the pressure canner. But we got a lot of work to do and we're going to get on it. So we'll show you guys the process once we're packed up. So here are the smelt. Now we just kind of chopped their heads off, took out the guts, rinsed them out pretty well, and they're good to go. We're going to give them another little rinse and then a pat off because you want to make sure when they go inside of your jars, they're at least a little bit dry. I know you can't get them completely dry, but you want them a little bit dry. Now, the liquid that's going to fill up your jar will be the oil that comes off of the skin and basically from the fish. So that's why we're doing the raw pack method today. All right, so we already have one jar packed here, you can see. Just kind of want to shove them all in there until you can't fit any more. They're going to shrink when you cook them. So you just want to pack them all in. I'm going to grab a jar here. And tails down, that's what I've decided to do. You could do whatever you like, but that's what I'm going to do. Oops, sorry. It's okay if you're a little sloppy. We're going to take some vinegar and just wipe our rims after. That's how you're going to make sure you get off all this fish stuff. This guy's a little bigger. All right, there we go. So I've kind of packed them all in there. I might be able to fit an extra one, but I think that's good for this jar. And then we're going to get on to doing the rest. So now we're ready to add our seasonings and things into our jar. We have them all jarred up. We are going to take some vinegar to the rims though. You can see there's some scales and just some things on the lid you want to clean up. But for now, we're going to start off with our mixture. So we're going to use our little soy sauce mixture here. And we're going to do a half teaspoon. So I'm just going to pour in. Just over top. If you do a little extra, that's okay. If you do a little less, that's okay. It's just for a taste. Mix it up a little bit just so we don't have all the good stuff settling on the bottom. I actually might go through and give these jars another go. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be enough, so I'm just going to give a little grace to some, maybe do like another a quarter teaspoon, sorry, in the rest of the jars. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I feel like that should be good enough. Then we're going to do a teaspoon and a half of oil, but first I want to get the salt in. So we're going to do a half teaspoon of salt in each jar as well. This is preserving salt. It's what you want to use when you're canning. And once that's done, so now we're gonna add the olive oil, which we're gonna use 1.5 teaspoons. So exciting to try a new recipe you've never tried before, especially if you're really into canning. And this is a new one for me. I'm hoping they're gonna turn out just like sardines, but we'll see. Now when you are pressure canning, you don't need to sterilize your jars right away. You just need to make sure they're clean because they're gonna be going through a hot sterilization. But you do wanna make sure that your lids are clean because otherwise they won't suction onto the rubber grip and you won't have a proper seal. So see, you just take it like this. Now I'm gonna go over it with the vinegar and then I'm gonna go over it with some water. I'm gonna go over with another paper towel just to make sure these lids are dry. One thing I might do differently in the future is use a funnel to put the smelt in, just so we don't get so many scales in the jar. But you know what? First time, we're learning new ways to make it a little bit more effective. We decided after we took a look in all the jars when they were done that they needed a little bit more oil, so we decided to add the full tablespoon. So we did a tablespoon of oil in each jar. Just remember, with your jars, always check the top of your lids for any cracks and check the whole jar. I actually have one here I can show you as an example as to what I mean. I don't know if you can see the crack here, but as I was cleaning the jars out, I noticed this had a crack here. And you want to remove anything like that because you are pressure canning that would have exploded or at least broken the rest of the way in my canner. So when you are dealing with your pressure canner, sorry, I have a lot of calcium buildup. I do a lot of canning, but you just want to make sure that your lid's okay. Make sure your little vent valve's popping up. Make sure there's nothing obstructing it. Your little vent release here, blow through it. If you hear that, you know you're good. It's just some safety precautions to think of when you are pressure canning because you want to make sure that everything's working properly. Okay, let's get to canning. All right, let's put our jars in. We got our temperature up. We're starting on a high temp because whenever you're dealing with pressure canning, you want to get your heat up really high and then we'll lower it as we go. There we go. How many can I fit? There you go. There. Now we're going to take our lid. See the arrow? You want to make sure like this. Sorry. There you go. And then when you hear that seal, get resistance here. Well, this is for your Presto canners. That means your lid's on. We have it now on a high temperature, it's 7, and I'm just basically waiting for the top vent here to pop up. You wait your 10 minutes until all the air is vented out, and then you can put your gauge weight on. And then we're looking for 10 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes. All right, we're in the long haul. Let's get on making a coffee. It can take a little while to get to this stage, but please be patient. You will get there. Once your tab is popped up in the back, you're going to wait 10 minutes before you put on your weight.
Once you have reached 10 pounds of pressure, you're just going to lower your temperature down just a little bit so that you don't keep climbing and you just stay at 10 pounds of pressure. You may need to keep adjusting your temperature down just to keep it at that level, but that's where you want to maintain it, around that 10, 11 pounds of pressure. Now we're going to be canning for 75 minutes, so I prepared myself a coffee, cut some cheese, just relaxed. You just want to make sure you keep an eye on your canner throughout this process. You just want to make sure nothing's happening, be it going over your pressure or under, because if you go under, you're going to have to start your timing all over again. When we reached 75 minutes, I turned off the canner and just let it depressurize. I'm going to go outside, feed the chickens. I got some stuff to do. I'm going to let this go to 0 before I mess with it. All right, we're now ready to open our pressure canner. Only at this stage, after everything has decompressed and your vent back here has gone down, will you be able to take your weight off. So let's take the weight off. And you want to open it away from you because it's going to be a lot of steam. It's really hot in here. I'm going to take our jars out. So that's what they look like. Pretty happy with the oil distribution. You can see it's kind of about halfway, a little more than halfway up the jar. They're all sealed. Wow. So I normally like to let my jar set in my pressure canner for a little while, probably almost about an hour, just letting that whole pressure canner depressurize. And every one of my seals popped in that time. So that's good, successful canning. I still have one more batch to do and then we'll be done. We can test the jar, right? It's exciting, something new. Look at that. Okay, so we've reached 75 minutes. It's now time to turn off our canner. Just turn your heat off. And now you just let it sit. It's gonna take a little while. I let mine sit for an hour or two, but it's just gotta cool down and depressurize. You don't wanna do anything until your gauge is at 0 and your tab back here has gone down. Do not touch nothing, just let it go. Take a bath, go relax, take a walk, but just let it depressurize and do its thing. Don't touch it. So we finally completed our second batch and all the smelt is done. Paul cracked open a jar and he said it tasted just like sardines. So I'm really happy with this recipe and we will be using it again in the future. All of our jars sealed, so we're just waiting for them to cool down and then we're gonna take them down to the pantry after we label them. Thanks for watching our video, and if you guys like this content, like, subscribe, hit your notification bell, and leave us a comment. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you on the next one.